Well, for more on this, let's bring in Andrew Blick. He's a senior lecturer in politics at King's College in London. Andrew, thank you for joining us here on France 24. 5 hopefuls left in the race. Last week, Trade Minister Penny Mordaunt became a favourite at the bookies. Who do you think is likely to win this contest?
It's a difficult call to make because you've got to think about the 2 different stages. One is the members in Parliament who are voting at the moment, who whittle it down to 2 candidates. And then the second stage is the members in the country at large. Now, amongst the members in Parliament, Rishi Sunak is the favourite, but he's probably not the favourite amongst the members in the country at large. And the question is, who is he going to be up against? If it's Penny Mordaunt, perhaps she would definitely be the one to win amongst the members on the evidence we've got. If it's Liz Truss, perhaps she too would defeat Rishi Sunak, although it's perhaps not as popular with the members as Mordaunt. So the calculations in there are who makes it to the last 2, and then once they make it to the last 2, it's likely to be the candidate other than Rishi Sunak, seems to be the current thinking, which will either be Penny Mordaunt or Liz Truss. So those are probably the 2 most likely who could do it.
Well, some of the candidates were relative unknowns until this leadership contest. Are you surprised how they've managed to outstrip bigger names who've fallen by the wayside, people like Jeremy Hunt?
Well, I think Jeremy Hunt was always likely to do badly in this election because he's regarded as being out of step with the party. It's not so much that he's changed in his views and suddenly become a radical left-winger, but it tells you how much the party has shifted, particularly in the Brexit era, away from its more traditional positions and towards a more radical and populist outlook. So that's not a great surprise to me. The party has shifted towards populism, not all the way, not all-out populism, but it's moved in that direction, particularly in its Brexit policy, but not only in its Brexit policy. So the fact that candidates who fit more within the kind of populist template are doing better is not a great surprise, I'm afraid.
Well, there are also a flurry of TV debates taking place over the next few days. What can we expect to be said in those?
Well, what's interesting about them is the multiple constituencies that I've previously referred to. It's interesting that there are televised debates that the whole country could watch, because at the moment, the only people who are voting are a relatively small group of MPs in Parliament, Conservative MPs in Parliament, yet the whole country's watching these debates. The next stage is a bigger electorate, but as you said in the introduction, it's only the 200,000 or so people who are members of the Conservative Party. So when we look at these debates, what we've got to understand is that there's 3 audiences here, at least 3 audiences. Audience number 1 is the MPs in Parliament who are voting at the moment. Audience number 2 is the members of the party in the country at large. You get to decide between the 2 candidates that are given. And then beyond that, audience number 3 is the wider public who'll be voting in the next general election whenever it comes. So what we can expect is candidates to be playing to those 3 audiences at once, particularly the first and second audiences, thinking about how do I get into that final 2? And then if I get into that final 2, how do I win the members over? Let's also bear in mind that some of the candidates will know full well they're not going to get there. And what they're really doing is setting out their stall, trying to build up their credibility in the party so that maybe they get a good job in the government at the end of this, or maybe at some point in the future they're a leadership contender when another election happens.